Hey, how's it going? So we're going to have a look at making some dash abilities today inside of Able, and a little later we'll look at adding some damage to them as well. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to make an ability. Let's start with a completely blank one. Nope, let's start with a completely blank one, and I'll just use the top one. Ignore all this, it's not relevant. Don't worry about it. We're just going to use the completely blank one with nothing included. We'll just call this dash, and we'll open that up. Okay. So, first thing we'll do, add a task. We'll go into animation. You'll want to use the play animation node. I'm using a compatible skeleton setup, so unfortunately it doesn't work for me. There's like a bug at the moment. So I'm just using the play dynamic montage, which is a custom one that I've made, but it works basically the same. So. Right, so we have my animation, and we'll pick one. So I think I have a dodge somewhere, dodge front. Okay, so if I press play, yep. Okay, so that you'd be able to do that nice and easy. So the easiest way to make this work is to go into your animation and turn on root motion. Enabling root motion, assuming your animation has root motion. Most animation packs on the marketplace give you like both. They have like an in place, usually IP in place, and a RM root motion. So you want to pick the root motion one if that's the way that works. And then in my character, I'll just tell this dodge to play dash. Okay. So now when I press my left alt, it will play the dash ability. Simple as that. So let's try it out. There it is. So that's the root motion directly from my ability, directly from the animation. For some reason, I couldn't press it again. I think I have a bit of a weird caching issue. Let me just compile everything, and we'll try it again. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, my UE5 going a bit funky on me. It's giving everything random colors. That's cool. Right, so that's the easiest way to do a dodge, right? You can, in the actual animation ability, sorry, there we go. So if you're using the other animation thing, so let's find that dodge. So what you could do is create this as a dynamic bind, and then you could say get the owner, and you could like get a direction you're moving, or like maybe you have something set up somewhere, like you have a state machine that's figuring out what you're doing. You could use that to play a different animation that plays a different root motion animation, or maybe the velocity you're moving plays one based on like which velocity direction you're moving. You can have like a different animation play. So you could do that, and that would make root motion work for like for 8 directions, however many animations you have. That's a way to do it. There's lots and lots of ways to do it, but that's a way to do it. Root motion works pretty cool. Yeah, so let's say we're not doing root motion though. So let's just go back to my normal animation thing. Let me remove root motion. So now if I press play, we'll see that, yeah, nothing happens. That's my blend. Don't worry about that. But yeah, nothing happens, right? I haven't got any root motion anymore. So let's make a task. Let's make a custom task. Task. Able custom task, and we'll just call this push actor. So the way custom tasks work is you have a series of functions to override. The most important ones are on task start, on task end, and on task tick. Is single frames also quite important? So the way these basically work is they're kind of interfaces that allow you to change how they work. So you have this is single frame, right? So you can just change that. So if I go and add push actor to here, So if you ever make a custom task, it will be under Blueprint Custom Push Actor. So we'll add that, and then you'll see that this is a single task. So if I come here and I untick it, and then we refresh, we'll just recompile the ability. You can see that now I can drag it around and I can do that. But you can have this based on a variable or a Boolean, or you can have it based on outside stuff. Like you can, yeah, you can have it based on, not outside stuff, sorry, you can't. But you can have it based on like variables and things you have set inside the ability. Right, so you can change the task name, again, based on like variables, or just set the task name. You can change the task color, so that'll be the color that it shows up on in here. Let's, I don't know, for our push one, let's set it to blue, for example. And then we'll, hey, it's blue. Right, so you can do the category as well, so we could change this to movement. And now if I go to add a task, it'll be under movement. I'll see there's push actor there. But for our purposes, we're going to use onTaskTick. So onTaskTick, we're going to get the owner, and we're going to get his location, not his local role, no, get location. And we're going to get his forward, because what we're basically going to do is we're just going to push him along. So let's set set actor location. No, not offset, sorry. Oh my god. Set location. What? Set actor. No, I'm on the context. It's fine, we'll get there in the end. Okay. So we'll just set the location, and we'll set it to be the actor. We want the original actor location so it doesn't warp all over the place. And then we're going to add a direction to it. So we'll get the forward direction for now. So it's always going to be the forward of the actor, and we can take this and we'll multiply it. So we're going to multiply it by a value so that we can add it onto here. And that'll be our new location, and we'll sweep it as well. Now, if you're not aware in UE5, you can just convert these pins to quite a few things. So we can multiply this forward vector by, I don't know, let's say a value of 5 to start with. Okay, and we'll add that. Oh, we already have it, so we'll just do that. And see what we get. Oh. Okay, so it definitely works. So of course it's a task, right? So we should do it. We should make sure we're doing it. Oh, I have double actor. Interesting. When does he kind of stop? Like here? So let's like do it like that. So let's see. Okay, that's better. Maybe a bit too long. We'll put it back a little bit, and then we'll change the value. So we obviously don't want to keep going into the task to change the value, right? So let's set this up. We'll make this a variable, and we'll say push value, and we'll tick it to make sure that it's public. And then when we come back in here, we'll refresh our ability again. And you'll see that we'll have a push value. So now we can change it. If you make your abilities in C++, you can do what Matt does, and have you can create abilities with dynamic binds and things. You can, that's totally doable, but not for something we're doing today. So we're playing the ability, we're doing the push actor, and we'll set this to like, I don't know, 20. Okay, that's a bit more like it. So now there you go. We have like a dash that we can, change via the task. And that works pretty good. We could do it slightly differently. We could Okay, we can actually, I'll tell you what we can do. We can do a boolean. So you might want to set up an enum or something for this, but I'm just going to do it as a boolean, and I'm going to say velocity. So we'll do a branch if velocity is, no, actually we won't, sorry, I'm being dumb. We'll do a select so based on our boolean, we'll do a select. If velocity is true, then we use the velocity. If it's false, then we use that, and then we plug that in there. So you can use an enum or something for this and like switch based on the enum value, or do a select based on the enum value. But this is a real quick and easy way of adding, you know, so if I come back in here, we can see that, you know, I can just say, hey, actually, I want to use velocity instead. I mean, you can make these as complicated as you want, but yeah, that, I mean, so if you do use velocity, here's a fun thing. So velocity isn't normalized like forward. So let's come back into our push actor. And if we get velocity, we're going to want to normalize it. We're multiplying by a value, right? So we always want to normalize. Otherwise, we're going to get funky results like flying all over the place. Okay, so now if you ignore the animation, because I have some animation stuff set up, but you can see that, like, yeah, you would follow your velocity and be pushed an extra amount. Yeah, so it's pretty simple and that's pretty basic, but that's the general idea, right? Like, you want to just move your character. That's how custom tasks work and how you can interact and give yourself different values and things. Yeah, so that's another way of doing dashes. And yeah, that's really the two main ones I know. There's obviously different ways of doing this, the set actor location, because set actor location doesn't really work great over like the network either. I found that it's like really, really hitchy, especially if you're trying to play a root motion animation at the same time. They like fight each other, even though in a single player game they work cooperatively. So I'm probably going to end up doing some like custom task root motion manipulation, just to like smooth that out over the network. But this is the general idea, and it should get you going. And like as you progress through UE, you'll pick things up, and you'll just knowing how to use custom tasks is the most important thing, really. Right, so that's that. Let's go back to the root motion version, because that one kind of works. I don't need to worry about this thing. And what we'll do is we'll add some damage to the dash. So there's a few things we can do. You can just put a bunch of queries in, which definitely works. So, you know, if your dash is 1 second long, which it is here. Oh, it wants us to add a thing. Hold on. Let's do a sphere, right? And then let's make it a little bit bigger than ourselves. And we will, I mean, that's pretty much it. Oh no, we need to add a collision. We'll add pawn. And then we'll kind of just scatter it along. So let's see, when do we land? Somewhere around here. So let's just dupe this out a bit. Let's say it's a 0.6 per second. So let's do it at 1, 3, and 5 or something. Like something like that. We'll just space them out. And then you can do the same thing with your damage, right? So you now need to duplicate these. And then we will link that to the top one, link that to the second one, link that to the third one. damage targets are target actors. And that's pretty much that. So now we can quickly pop in here and we should see that it works. Yep. Okay. I had my show collisions on. If you don't know what that is in your ability, you can go to timeline, show collision queries, and then it will show all your able collision queries. So yeah, you can see that we are now applying damage. Well, they are applying damage because that's how my aggro stuff works. When they apply damage, they take threat. Threat gives them, makes them attack me. Yeah, so that's one way of doing it. Just throwing a few collision queries in, right? The other alternative we have is we can use the overlap watcher, which is a bit more complicated, but let's have a look. So, collision overlap watcher. So the way overlap watcher works is that it will basically make a shape in the physics engine every frame, and it will query what's there. It's not really an overlap as you know it in UE usually. It's more of a, okay, I'm doing a check every second, every frame, and if it's there during that frame, I'm going to do a thing to it. So we need to filter it as well, and we need to do some other stuff. So let's do a sphere. Okay, and we will, I guess we can do it as a pawn. I guess we can attach it to the socket or something, right? Is it just, okay, whatever, it's fine. So overlap watcher will do it between where we kind of saw where we had it before. We need to make sure we press fire event. And we want to copy the context. So if you, okay, no collision event, that's fine. So we can clear existing, we can allow duplicates, we're probably not going to allow duplicates. And you can continually clear. But for our purposes, we're not going to be doing that. So what we're going to want to do is we have our, make sure you have your fire event ticked. We got our collision set. Yes, I know those things, go away. And now we'll come in here and, oh, we don't need this from earlier. And we'll override that collision. Where are you? On collision event. Okay. So we have a array of our hit entries. We can for each through those. And we'll break this out. And we have an actor and we have a primitive component. So we could take an actor and we could, you know, apply damage. Now, if we return complete here, you'll find something happens. If we do the dash, it only goes off for one frame because that one frame's happening and then you're saying, yep, we've completed, you're fine. So that's not what we want to do. We can do keep processing. But if ever you have something in here and, you know, say you're overlapping to watch for an event to happen, you can just stop the overlap as soon as that happens. But in our case, we're just using the event to, you know, do damage. So we're just going to keep processing. So if we do that, oh, nothing happened. Interesting. We double check the overlap. Is it because I didn't put a damage causer? It is, because it doesn't know who the target is. That's my bad. I have a threat system. If I don't put a damage causer, then it's not going to know who to attack, is it? There we go. So yeah, that's another way that you can, you know, do damage. So one thing that's, I mean, something that's kind of a thing with this is you're checking every frame, so you're now applying damage every frame as well. So maybe you want to do something like, we'll get targets, and we'll do like it contains that, and if it contains, if the target actors already contains this character, then we're not going to apply damage. So during this dash that we're doing, we're going to overlap with stuff. It's going to add them to the target actors. We're going to apply the damage. And then if it overlaps again during the same dash, it's not going to, because it's already there, right? It's already part of the target actors. So it's going to come back true and we're not going to have anything happen. So now we shouldn't be able to attack over and over and over. Which apparently I messed up. Do I need to put that there? There you go. I mean, it's hard to tell that I was attacking over and over, but that guy's a little bit broken right now. Don't mind him. But yeah, that's a thing. Oh, I tell you what, there is a way actually. Let's instead of doing damage, or we'll do damage as well, but let's spawn a particle effect. Can we do that here? Should be able to. And we'll just do a explosion attached to the primitive component. And we'll snap to the target. And maybe that'll work, I think. Okay, so one thing, another thing we can do, I think we can filter the owner, because we definitely don't want that. Is there filters on this? Yep, so we can add a filter for the owner. We'll up the size of it a bit so we can see it a bit easier. We'll do like a quite big one. And then, yeah, so this is testing with the filter. So we're testing against the target. You can see it just explodes once. You can see a little pop when it goes off. And now we'll do it without this. So we'll just do that. And you'll see the difference. Yeah. Literally every frame that it's checking, it's applying damage and spawning a particle. So you need to be careful how you use that. You need to make sure you're filtering it correctly and such. But yeah, that is the general idea of doing queries and things like this in Able. Yeah, I hope that helps. I hope you've picked a few things up, and have fun.